Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NBA slate on Friday, March the 14th. We've got 10 games tonight on Friday night, so it's a relatively big slate, guys. I got some early player props I do like for this slate, taking a first look at the board on Friday morning. I am recording this video the morning of. Typically make these videos the night before, but I wasn't able to do my video last night, so we're going to break down some plays I like for Friday this morning and talk through these plays. Now, as always, before we do get started, guys, make sure that you hit that like button down below. If you enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel, and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, be sure to go sign up. Use promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Prizepicks. And when you play your first $5 lineup, you'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So this is a cool and easy way to try and build your bankroll up on Prizepicks. You don't have to put in a bunch of money. You can deposit $10, play a $5 lineup. You're still going to get $50 worth of promo funds. You can use those promo funds to play lineups, and then money you win off those is credit. You can keep that money or you can withdraw it. It's up to you, but definitely go check out Prizepicks. If you guys have not yet, use that code NOAH when you do sign up. And also, we do have a partnership with Sleeper, so I want to shout out Sleeper as well. If you go sign up for Sleeper and use promo code NOAH over there, when you play $5, you'll get $55 worth of free lineups. So this is another cool promotion Sleeper's doing, another way to kind of build your bankroll up. A lot of these, DFS apps, sports books, they do new user offers, sign up bonuses, stuff like that. And on Sleeper, when you play $5, they're going to give you $55 worth of free lineups. So you'll have a bunch of free lineups you can use. Hopefully you can win some money off those free lineups. And this is another easy way to try and build your bankroll up on Sleeper using the free lineups they give you when you sign up. So if you want to try out Sleeper, guys, make sure to use that promo code NOAH so that way you get access to this promotion. But we got some plays to talk about for this slate on Friday. Now, I do want to recap our plays from Thursday before we go over our plays for today. So Thursday, very, very bad day, man. We gave out 2 plays Thursday. We went 0-2. We gave out a first half prop on Jalen Duren. He did nothing in the first half, had like 4 points and 3 rebounds. And then in the second half, he just went off. And I think he finished the game with like 31 or 32 PR. And we took his over PRA in the first half. He finished the game with like 33 or 34 something. The PRA, I can't remember, but he went off in the second half. The game was competitive. Thought there was a chance that game would be a blowout because it had like a 14-point spread. And go figure, it's a competitive game. So that play missed, and then we took an over on Gabe Vincent, PRA, 14.5. Vincent had a pretty good role. He started, I think he played over 30 minutes. He just wasn't very productive. He didn't really do much when he was on the floor. I want to say he shot the ball somewhat poorly. I think he shot like 3 for 10. He had like 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist maybe, if I remember his final stat line. But the role was good. He played over 30 minutes, just wasn't very productive. It is what it is. We've had those type of days, man, where shit just doesn't go your way. It's kind of been going that way for me lately, just having a lot of days where shit just doesn't go my way. But we're gonna keep on grinding, keep on pushing through. And we got 3 plays for Friday, guys. Let's see if we can get a 3-0 sweep here, hit all 3 of these plays. So let's go ahead and break them down, talk through the picks I'm liking. First prop that I like is gonna be a prop on Max Strus. So the prop I'm liking on Max Strus is more than 18.5 PRA. So there's really 2 props I like on Strus. I like this over PRA. I also like him for more than 11 points. I think that's also a solid prop on Max Strus, but I try to avoid playing the props, the points props when they, it's not the hook. Like if this was 10.5, I'd like it a lot more. At 11, I feel like there's a little bit of push equity there. Like there's push potential, and I just don't like playing for pushes. But the 18.5 PRA I do like a lot here on Strus, and let's kind of talk through why I like this prop. So if you look at Max Strus' recent games lately, for what it's worth, he's gone over this line in 3 of his last 5. Do want to highlight last game, though, because last game was without Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell is once again out for this game. So without Donovan Mitchell, that does really benefit Max Strus. We've seen Max Strus play 4 games now this season without Donovan Mitchell. He's gone over this PRA line in 3 of those 4 games. So in his 4 games without Mitchell this season, 17 PRA, 23 PRA, 25 PRA, 19 PRA. In the game he had 17, he only played 25 minutes. I think that game might have been a blowout. Or no, it was a competitive game, but he only played 25 minutes. Typically, we can project Strus for around 30 minutes, especially without Donovan Mitchell, because when you take Mitchell out of the rotation, that just opens up a lot of minutes. Now, last game, the Cavs were without DeAndre Hunter. They're going to be getting DeAndre Hunter back today. He's probable. But we should still see Strus have a pretty good role here. Should be fairly involved in the offense. He does pick up more usage when you take Mitchell off the floor. And this is a really good matchup for Max Strus. Max Strus is a player who, he plays off ball. He's not a guy that really demands the ball. He's not really going to handle the ball a ton. A lot of his production is going to come from three-point shooting, from off-ball scoring. And this is a matchup that sets up really well for that. If you look at the Grizzlies this season, the Grizzlies are top 10 in both three-pointers allowed per game and three-pointers made per game. So the Grizzlies give up a lot of threes. They also give up a lot of catch-and-shoot threes, and that's where Strus gets a lot of his scoring from, is catch-and-shoot threes. This season, the Grizzlies given up the third most catch-and-shoot threes made per game, and they're also top 10 in three-pointer catch-and-shoot three-pointers allowed. So this is a team that gives up a lot of not only three-point attempts, but they also give up a lot of catch-and-shoot threes, and that's Max Strus' game, relies heavily on catch-and-shoot threes. So I think this is a really good spot for Max Strus. He's played pretty well without Donovan Mitchell this season. I like taking PRA instead of points, though, because we have seen Strus show some rebounding and assisting upside, especially in the games he's playing without Mitchell. Like if you look at the 4 games without Mitchell, he's had 5 points, or excuse me, he's had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, so 9, RA, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 RA, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 RA, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 5, RA. So I think I like his PRA a little bit more than points, but honestly, I'm good with taking him for more than 11 points as well. Just feel like this is a matchup that sets up really well for Strus to be able to score. Last game, he had 19 PRA, and he shot the ball terribly last game against Brooklyn. Like, he shot 2 for 10 from the field and 2 for 9 from 3. Hopefully, we don't get one of those poor shooting games from Strus, but this is definitely a matchup where he's going to have some open looks from 3, and we just gotta hope that he makes them. But that's what we're going to play as our first prop for Friday. And then the next 2 props that I do like are fantasy scores. So if you're in my Patreon, you know that I take fantasy score props a lot. Fantasy score props, I think, are some of the biggest edges on Prizepicks because these are props that Prizepicks has to come up with themselves. All these other props, points, PRA, rebounds, Prizepicks can copy these directly from the sports books. They can look at all the different sports books, see where they have their lines at, and then Prizepicks can set their lines, exactly the same. Well, when it comes to fantasy score, there's really no sports books that are giving out fantasy score lines, at least not that I'm aware of. So Prizepicks has to create fantasy score lines themselves, which that can present some edges. And if you don't know how fantasy score works, it's very simple, self-explanatory. You can click scoring chart, scroll down, you can see how fantasy points are calculated. For every point a player scores, it's 1 point, self-explanatory. For every rebound they get, it's 1.2 points. For every assist they get, it's 1.5 points. Every block and steal they get is 3 points each. And then if they have a turnover, they do lose a point for turnovers. But there's a couple fantasy score lines that I definitely think are a bit low today. First one that I do like is going to be on Mark Williams. We're going to take Mark Williams for more than 37.5 fantasy score. So Mark Williams been playing relatively well lately. If you look at his last 5 games, for what it's worth, he's gone over this line in 3 of his last 5. One of the games he went under, he went under by like half a point. And then the other game he went under was a terrible matchup against Minnesota, a team that's historically been a really tough matchup for centers. Well, this matchup against the Spurs is probably one of the best that you can get right now because without Victor Wembanyama, this Spurs team has just been terrible defensively. I believe over their last 12 games without Wemby, I want to say they have like one of the worst defensive ratings in the league. I'm going to take a look at it just to confirm. Last 12 games without Wemby, the Spurs have the worst defensive rating in the league. And they've also been giving up a ton of points, a ton of fantasy points to centers as well. Over the last 15 days, so basically the last 2 weeks, Spurs giving up the most points per game to centers. They're top 10 in fantasy points allowed to centers as well. And they're giving up the 3rd most points in the paint over their last their last 12 games without Wemby. So really without Wemby lately, the Spurs have just been a really good matchup for centers. They get killed around the basket. They don't really have good rim protection. Obviously, Bismack Biyombo, nowhere near the same rim protector that Victor Wembanyama is, nowhere near the same defender that he is. So this is a really, really good matchup for Mark Williams. And Mark Williams is a player this season that has shown when he gets minutes, he can be really productive. If you look at Mark Williams throughout his career, he's only played 3 seasons in the NBA, but he's been really productive every season. His first 2 seasons in the NBA, he averaged 1.16 fantasy points per minute. So, he's been a player that typically when he plays like 30 minutes, you can project him for like 33 fantasy points. This season, though, we've seen Mark Williams' production really spike. He's averaged 1.38 fantasy points per minute this season, and he's over this fantasy point line in 9 out of 11 games when playing at least 30 minutes. Mark Williams, typically a player we can project for about 29 to 30 minutes in competitive games. And this is a game against the Spurs that does have a really close spread, 3.5 point spread. It should be a close game. And again, when Mark Williams has played 30 plus minutes, he's over this line in 9 out of 11 games. One of the games he went under was the Warriors game where he went under, by half a point. So I think it's a really good spot here for Mark Williams. Should be very productive in this matchup. Like him for more than 37.5 fantasy score. And then the other fantasy score prop that I do like is going to be on Domantas Sabonis. So the Kings are on the second night of a back-to-back. Domantas Sabonis was questionable yesterday. He did not play. Sabonis did practice in full on Wednesday, though, and Sabonis is returning from injury. He's been out for about 5 or 6 games with a hamstring injury, but he was able to practice fully on Wednesday, which makes me assume he's going to be pretty close to full go here. Now, I don't know if we're going to get like 36 minutes right out of the gate from Sabonis, but I think we're probably going to get like 30, 31, 32 minutes here. Sabonis, he was not going to play both of these games, coming off injury. They're not going to play him back-to-back games. So he was either going to sit yesterday and probably play today, or he was going to play yesterday and sit today. So I'm assuming since Sabonis didn't play yesterday on the front end of a back-to-back, that he'll be back today and will play this game. Obviously, if Sabonis doesn't play, then the pick just voids and we'll just have 2 picks for today. But I think Sabonis is going to play today. I do like him for more than 37.5 fantasy score. So if we kind of look at props on Sabonis for today, his prop lines are a little bit lower than what they normally be. Like normally his PRA line is like 35.5, 36.5. Normally his points prop is like 18.5, 19.5, kind of depending on matchup. So it looks like the books are maybe expecting a slight limit on Sabonis, but I would be very surprised if he comes out here and plays like just 20-something minutes. Like I think we're still going to get close to, if not right around 30 minutes from Sabonis. And Sabonis is a player that has been really productive when he gets minutes. He's one of these guys that just does everything when he's on the floor. He can score, he can rebound, he can get assists. He can also sometimes get you defensive stats, blocks and steals. Obviously on Prizepicks with fantasy score, you want guys that can get blocks and steals because those rack up a lot of points. You get 3 points for each one of those. But when we project Sabonis for around 30 minutes, typically he's a guy that will project for over 37.5 fantasy score. I mean, if you look at this season, Sabonis has averaged 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Since he's joined the Kings, he's been super productive, 1.32, 1.38, and then 1.3 fantasy points per minute in his 3 seasons with Sacramento. So Sabonis is a guy that just, when he's on the floor, he is super productive from a fantasy perspective. I'm expecting him to play about 30 minutes here. There's definitely a chance he plays more. They could just play him like 35 minutes coming back from injury. I don't know if they'll do that, but the fact that he was able to fully practice on Wednesday does give me some positive reassurance that, he's not going to be on a super strict minutes limit here. And this is a really good matchup against the Suns. The Suns defensively, they've not been great this season. They've been, I think, like a bottom 10 defensive rating team. They've also been a really good matchup for centers. Nick Richards, not a great defender. Mason Plumlee, not a great defender. So this is definitely a matchup that Sabonis should be able to exploit. If you do look this season, the Suns are top 10 in fantasy points allowed to centers. So I think this is a really good spot for Sabonis. I know there's some concern that he's coming back from injury. Maybe he's on a minutes limit. Maybe he doesn't play as well returning from an injury. But I'm willing to bet against that, especially with his lines where they are today. Now, obviously, Sabonis's fantasy point line was like 45.5, where it typically is. I'd maybe have a little bit of pullback. Like I don't know if I'd be taking the over on that. But with his line at 37.5, we're getting lower lines than what we usually see on Sabonis. That's just because, obviously coming back from injury, you don't know how many minutes he's going to play. Like I said, I'd be very surprised if he comes out here and plays like 20-something minutes. I think we're going to get like at least 28, 29, probably 30 minutes, maybe more, maybe 33, 34, but at least like 28 to 29 minutes. And Sabonis is such a productive player when he's on the floor that he can easily go over 37.5 fantasy score, even in only, like 28 or 29 minutes. So that's what we're going to roll with, guys, as our 3 props for Friday here. Max Drews we're going to take for more than 18.5 PRA. Mark Williams we're going to take for more than 37.5 fantasy score. And Demontis Bonus we're going to take for more than 37.5 fantasy score. So got 3 early plays I'm liking for this Friday slate. As always, appreciate you guys watching these Prizepicks videos and supporting the Prizepicks content. Make sure that you hit that like button down below. If you did enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys don't have an account over on Prizepicks, be sure to go sign up for Prizepicks and use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. When you play your first $5 lineup on Prizepicks, you're going to get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account when you sign up and use code NOAH. But best of luck as always, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. Let's win some money tonight. I'll see you guys in the next one.